A number of us grew up in Littlefield during the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And in our memories of downtown Littlefield, the Palace Theater was a magical place for kiddos who wanted to see the latest monster movies, for teens on their first dates, for young couples to take their own children to. It was magic. We recall the red marquee outside, the movable letters announcing what this Saturday afternoon's movie would be. We remember red hots tossed from the balcony, the creak of the wooden seats, and filling it all, the wonderful aroma of hot popcorn. The Palace Theater was built in 1925 to be the entertainment center for the young and developing Littlefield area. The total cost of construction was $21,011, and it was built by the CM Theater Company. Shortly before, community leaders had built the Lee, a successful 700-seat theater on the east side of Phelps downtown. The Palace was designed and constructed to be a more permanent, luxurious theater to rule the west side of Phelps Avenue. The Palace has about 6,200 square feet of ground floor space, covering 2 downtown lots. The seating in the auditorium at capacity appears to have been about 500 to 600. Originally, the Palace was a silent theater, and it was converted to talkies at some point in the 1930s. Behind the current large theater screen is a small performing stage, along with an area for the theater organ or piano, which played as the silent film was showing. There is even a modest proscenium or theater stage arch over the small stage, but this was covered up in later theater modifications, and very few of us who grew up in the Palace were even aware of it. In its early days, the 2 side entrances served as entrances into small businesses run in connection with the Palace. The southernmost door was an entrance to a grocery store. The northern door led customers, probably upstairs, to a 3-seat barbershop. The front of the Palace was brick, and it appeared much as other early buildings still standing downtown, such as the Duggan Building. A small movie marquee announced the current movie. The movie showing when this 1938 photo was taken was Tip-Off Girls, starring Lloyd Nolan, Buster Crabbe, and Anthony Quinn. You may remember Lloyd Nolan from the old Dr. Kildare TV series. It also starred Mary Carlisle. A second feature was Professor Beware, a comedy starring William Frawley and Sterling Holloway. The movie house featured a full apartment over the theater lobby, and it was where the theater attendant lived. The apartment opened up into a screened balcony area which overlooked the streetgoers on Phelps Avenue. Decorations on the balcony area resembled the Grauman's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles. At some point, the Palace underwent a major facelift. The brick front of the theater was covered with an Art Deco cement front. The old balcony was covered with a large cosmetic overhang, and a large new red marquee became the center of attention. Inside the theater, the old folding seats from the silent theater days were replaced with padded seats. The South Side store was incorporated into the theater lobby, and it became where refreshments were sold for many years, with a window opening up into the theater, as well as the entrance onto the street. Wallace Theaters purchased the Palace, and Wallace built and operated several theaters in the Littlefield area. Wallace Theaters is the reason why there have been so many theaters in Littlefield. Many people who grew up in Littlefield during the 50s can recall seeing a movie at the Rio, then crossing the street to take in a show at the Ritz, and then winding up for an evening movie at the Palace, all in one long, wonderful Saturday. Of the 7 theaters which operated at some point in Littlefield, only the Rio and the Palace currently stand, and only the Palace appears to be in a condition where it can be renovated. The Palace gradually fell into disrepair during the late 1970s, and it was closed. Since that time, the roof has been damaged severely by rain and age. Vandals have broken in and destroyed the screen and most of the contents of the Palace. Several seats have been removed or sold, and the ones that remain are badly water damaged or vandalized. The wooden floors in the upstairs apartment have deteriorated, and the stairway leading to the projection booth and the apartment has collapsed. Have the palace's days ended? Will it never again have its red movie marquee lighting up downtown Littlefield? It has been the centerpiece of downtown Littlefield for over 75 years, and it has served multiple generations of South Plains moviegoers. Will it simply fade away and be forgotten? Imagine having a restored and reopened Palace Theater. It could be home to events such as country music shows, local talent shows, public school plays, community plays like the Garza Theater and Post, traveling road shows, gospel music jamborees, church choir festivals, 50s music nights, annual bluegrass jamborees, science fiction movie festivals such as Buck Rogers' Flash Gordon, Western film festivals, Imagine John Wayne movies. It could offer a museum with theater photos and items from the old theater, part of the original screen, movie posters, old movie tickets, a theater seat from the silent movie days, Waylon Jennings memorabilia, Littlefield and Lamb County history items. Everything would be community-oriented with family values. That's the dream, that's the plan, and you can help. We want to invite civic organizations, church Bible class groups, high school alumni groups, businesses, and individuals to adopt a specific area of the palace and to sponsor the renovation of that particular area. This way, all of Littlefield can have the opportunity of having a hand in reopening this local treasure, the Palace Theater.